It started as a whisper, then a rumor, then a headline. Michelin-star chef abandons Paris restaurant. Chef Antoine Dubois, the golden boy of French gastronomy, simply walked away from L'Étoile du Matin, the most celebrated restaurant in Paris. At the peak of his career, he vanished. The culinary world erupted. Burnout, scandal, midlife crisis. The truth was stranger. A journalist found him not in France but in Pampanga, Philippines. He wasn't hiding. He was cooking, in a simple open-air kitchen, guided by an elderly woman. Paris called it a stunt. Critics questioned his sanity. Why would a master chef trade tweezers for clay pots and wood fires? But Antoine wasn't running away. He was searching for something his fame and perfection couldn't provide. He was looking for the soul of his food. This act sent shockwaves through fine dining, a quiet rebellion against perfection. Other chefs watched, seeing him in a t-shirt, hands stained with turmeric, looking happier than ever. Antoine's story became legend, a symbol of a deeper hunger no Michelin star could satisfy. It was the beginning of a culinary awakening. Antoine Dubois had it all: 3 Michelin stars, a booked-out restaurant, critical acclaim, but inside he felt hollow. Each night he stared at his perfect plates and felt nothing. The joy was gone, replaced by pressure to innovate and maintain his status. During a TV interview asked for the secret to his cooking, he realized he no longer knew. His food had become a formula, not a story. He remembered his grandmother's beef bourguignon. Her secret was love, not technique. Desperate for authenticity, he read about Pampanga, the culinary capital of the Philippines, and Aling Leti, a guardian of tradition. Her words struck him. "My only recipe is my memory and my heart." Antoine left Paris, leaving only a note, and flew to the Philippines to find her. Arriving in Pampanga, he was overwhelmed by the vibrant chaos, grilled meats, laughter, and life everywhere. It was the opposite of his silent, reverent dining room. He wasn't just seeking new flavors, he was searching for meaning. He needed to understand what it meant to cook with memory and heart. In Pampanga, he found a world alive with tradition and community. The air was thick with the scent of food and the sound of connection. Antoine was about to learn that true flavor comes from more than ingredients. It comes from the soul. Antoine's 2 worlds couldn't have been more different. In Paris, his kitchen was a silent laboratory: precision, control, perfection. Food was an intellectual exercise, a puzzle to impress and challenge. In Pampanga, the kitchen was the heart of the home: open, noisy, communal. Neighbors dropped by, chickens wandered, and recipes were measured by feel, not by scale. Cooking was a dance, a conversation with the ingredients. Antoine's cuisine was about deconstruction. Pampanga's was about wholeness and generosity. In Paris, food made you think. In Pampanga, it made you feel. Dishes were shared, flavors bold and comforting, meant to nourish body and soul. Antoine struggled. He was used to control, but here, he had to listen and trust. Ailing Leti laughed at his need for measurements. A little of this, a little of that until it feels right. He had to unlearn precision and embrace intuition. The greatest challenge was letting go. He was no longer the master, he was a student learning to cook with his senses. And for the first time, he felt alive in the kitchen. Antoine's first week in Pampanga was a blur of new sensations and community. Aling Leti's home bustled with activity. Food brought everyone together. For the local fiesta, neighbors arrived unannounced, each taking a role in the kitchen. Antoine, the famed chef, was handed a knife and told to peel garlic for hours. No one cared about his reputation, they just needed another pair of hands. At first, he felt humbled, but soon, a sense of peace washed over him. The meal was a revelation. Long tables in the street, everyone eating together, prayers of gratitude. Food was more than sustenance. It was a sacrament, a celebration of life and connection. He ate with his hands, tasted flavors that spoke of history and love. What moved him most was the feeling of belonging. His Paris restaurant had been silent and solitary. Here, food was the catalyst for joy and togetherness. He realized he'd been feeding palates but starving souls. In that meal, he found what was missing: love and community. The most important ingredient wasn't rare or exotic, it was the people around the table. Antoine understood that food's true power was in bringing people together. He had found the soul he was searching for, and he would never cook the same way again. Aling Leti became Antoine's mentor. Her wisdom was lived, not taught. She'd never been to culinary school, but her knowledge was deep, passed down through generations. Her kitchen was her sanctuary, her lessons given through action. She woke Antoine before dawn to visit the market, teaching him to build relationships with vendors and respect the story behind every ingredient. Back in the kitchen, there were no recipes, just watching, feeling, smelling. She made him listen to garlic sizzling, taste at every stage, and trust his intuition. "The food will tell you what it needs," she'd say, tapping her heart. Every dish had a purpose. Food for celebration, mourning, healing. She believed the cook's emotions infused the dish. Antoine had always been taught detachment. Aling Lady showed him the power of cooking with heart. He learned that true flavor comes from intention and care. Her kitchen was a place of connection, not just technique. Antoine was transformed, not just as a chef, but as a person. He learned to cook with his whole being, and he finally understood what it meant to feed the soul. Unlearning was painful for Antoine. His identity built on rules and precision. In Pampanga, he was clumsy, frustrated, a novice again. He burned rice, oversalted, and struggled with simplicity. Aling Lady's lesson: sometimes chicken and water are enough, don't hide the flavor. He learned restraint, to trust the ingredients. Time, too, was different. No frantic rush, but slow, patient cooking. Dishes simmered for hours, flavors deepening with care. Good food, he learned, can't be rushed. Patience seeped into his life, calming his mind. Slowly, Antoine changed. He stopped measuring, started feeling. He found joy in simple tasks, rediscovering the cook he'd been as a boy. He was unlearning mastery to learn connection. True mastery, he realized, wasn't control, it was patience, love, and trust. The art he'd forgotten was now at his fingertips. Antoine was no longer just a chef, he was a part of something greater. He was learning to cook with his heart, and that changed everything. News of Antoine's transformation spread quietly through the culinary world. Skeptical at first, other chefs saw a man liberated, sparking curiosity and longing. A quiet pilgrimage began, chefs seeking what Antoine had found. Elena from Barcelona arrived, expecting new techniques, but learned about the tides and the taste of crabs. Marcus from Germany came for sausage secrets, but discovered the ritual of a pig roast and honoring the animal. Each chef arrived with a goal, but found unexpected lessons: community, humility, patience. They struggled, adapted, and grew. They left as students of life, not just masters of food. They learned food was a medium for connection, not just an end. Returning home, they brought back not recipes, but a new perspective. The pilgrimage became a rite of passage for chefs seeking meaning. They discovered that a Michelin star couldn't feed the soul, but community could. When Antoine returned to Paris, the world expected a grand spectacle. Instead, he reopened quietly. No fanfare, no fusion, just a new spirit. The restaurant felt warmer, tables closer, conversation flowing. The menu was simpler, no foams or gels, just honest, exquisite food. A roasted chicken, a simple beef stew called grand-mère stew, tributes to his roots and lessons learned. The kitchen culture changed, calm, collaborative, with shared meals and stories. Antoine taught his staff to cook with heart, sharing the stories behind every dish. Other chefs followed. Elena hosted community dinners. Marcus taught children to cook with patience. They didn't copy Filipino recipes, but infused their own traditions with love and memory. The values of Pampanga became universal, cooking with love, memory, and community. Menus changed, but so did lives. The ripple spread. Food became about connection, not just perfection. Antoine's journey inspired a new way of being in kitchens everywhere. The soul of food was back at the center, and the world tasted the difference. Pampanga's legacy spread quietly, like dough rising in a warm kitchen. It wasn't about trends, but about a philosophy seeping into kitchens worldwide. Chefs became ambassadors of Aling Lady's wisdom, living it in their restaurants. Kitchens grew warmer, more human. Focus shifted from ego to community. Young chefs learned respect for ingredients, the power of stories, and the value of heritage. Success was redefined, not just awards, but contribution and connection. Small bistros replaced exclusive temples, with honest food and direct ties to farmers. The spirit of Aling Lady's kitchen found its way into global cuisine. The most sophisticated techniques meant nothing without love, memory, and faith. Her legacy was purpose, not recipes. Cooking became an act of generosity, a way to say, "I care about you." That flavor, above all, is what the world is truly hungry for. And now, it was finally being served.